Good.
The fish.
Live.
Here.
Call the meeting to order.
6 o'clock.
I'll take a motion to call the meeting to order.
So moved.
I'll make a motion, well, we're on, I'll make a motion to return from recess and enter into public session again.
Second.
Roll call vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, this thing ain't working.
I'll take consideration of the minutes of last month's meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept as written the April 11th, 2024 minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Activity reports. Captain.
I will start that. Sorry, it's not going to go on here. Apparently, the clicker's not getting everything. So we'll start with the incident cases year to date 2024. So in the March of April, we had 44 incidents with 64 offenses attached to those incidents. And you can see where all those are by officer with the material that you guys have. The arrest year to date for April is we had 16, 18 last month. That's a decrease of 11.11% for the arrest. And I did the same thing, broke it down by the officer, and you have all that material right there for you guys. Traffic stops. April, 93 down from 109, so that's 14.68% decrease from last month. 18 tickets given out, that's 19.36% chance of getting a citation for that month. So I broke that down. Basically, you can see it, where they are, which streets, and broken down by states and everything. So you have it all. Collision year to date, couldn't get it either. No. 2024. So the month of April, we had 13, up from 4 from last month. So last month was pretty good. So that's an increase of 225%, which is a lot. But our average, what we've been looking at, 11, 10, 4, and 13. So kind of on pace for the first 2 months. Plus we had that nor'easter, which had some accidents during then. So you can see all the streets that are in there for that month with all the paperwork that I did give you. And then what I do have was the personal analysis for the month of March for 2024. As you know, we had 44 incidents. You can break it down for each officer. The ones that you do look at, Eric had 11. That's Corporal LaRochelle. Up at the school, there was a little, Detective Emerson was up there probably for a week and a half in the month of April. So, and he had 7 for that month, and he was gone in the beginning of the month.
So, Captain, is Officer Emerson up there regularly?
Yes.
Now? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Same as Corporal LaRochelle.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I compared that to last month, which you see the next slide. So we had 45 incidents last month at this time for the month of April, and we had 44 this month, so we're same pace. The big difference is, if you look at from January to April at this date, this year we had 175. Last year we had 235. So we're down incidents. It's not a bad thing.
Wow. That's
to
a
be
good
honest
trend.
with you.
Any serious ones?
I would have to break it all down and to go throughout the year and see what we have. But I
Oh,
don't.
I meant this last month.
Last month, any
Yeah, at the
serious?
school, yeah.
We did have one up at the school.
Yeah.
What was that last month?
Some injury there,
Yeah.
but
An assault?
ultimately not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then you can see what went up to court with Prosecutor Morgan. So we had 1, 2, 3, 8 cases up there. What you're looking at is a lot of operational. We had 2 DUIs, 3 suspensions, negligent operation. You had 2 of those, and a suspension. So a lot of your court ones are coming from the roadway. So, and then I did so we'll get right into the school resource officer. So I did it a little different this thing. I'm not going to read you everything. You guys have read it, make it a little easier. So Officer LaRochelle, I mean, he had 8 cases up there. The ones that really shine out there, he had 2 sex assaults that started up there, but they came from a different town. So it just shows you how comfortable people are going to our SROs. They're starting the case up there, he starts it, and then he pushes it off to that jurisdiction where it actually happened. And then he also took a good report from somebody else about a student driving without a license. He eventually got a warrant for them. Student never had a license, he was driving a car in the school. So those are the key ones that pop out there. And then with Detective Emerson that was there, so he was about a week and a half because she had April vacation at the end. So his big one, he did investigate, which we had, actually I went to too, reported with a student bringing a bomb to school. So it ended up not being anything to that nature. But the student was, I believe the case is still going on, right? Yeah. So, but it did alarm some people, I'll tell you that much, in the school. So it didn't shut down, but it did alarm some people. And then his other ones, he's just getting used to being up there, getting used to the office, walking around, the day-to-day operation of the school. So that's a big thing about the SROs right now. And then I did the budget for this year, for where we are right now. We're sitting pretty good, 3.36% underspent. So yeah, we're looking real good on the budget overall from coming into May before the summer hits. So,
Captain, have we started the deployment of the speed trailers yet?
we have not.
Okay.
It's going to be coming out there. So we do have our, as you'll see, the radar trailer. We're kind of using as a display up at the PD. You haven't noticed it for our entrance due to the fact of all the construction vehicles and they're ripping out the whole front end of the asphalt right now. So it's very confusing going up to the PD right now. We're trying to make it the best it can be for somebody to get up there. But yeah, it is a little confusing when somebody drives in there, but we're getting there.
Would you please make a note as soon as we can to get one out on, like, by Birch Road out in that area again, like we've done in the past?
Yep.
I guess from what I'm hearing from people over that way, that it's getting a little bit crazy.
Yeah, where it is all most
Where
of
it
the time.
slows
it's down
down.
there, yeah. Yeah, he should be getting that out pretty soon,
Thank you.
so we grab them all.
Are one of you two prepared to talk about where we are in the building process, the phases tonight, perhaps, maybe, for the
Can you just
public?
give them a little overview of your meeting that you had with them
Yeah, so
Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah, so the power and everything like that? Not as much as that. But, so where we are right now, we're getting close to be done with Phase 3. The goal is to have the fire department's trucks and apparatus, let's call it apparatus, like that, a little, probably in there by the 15th, 14th. So switching from their bays that are currently we're using over to the new bays
Of this month?
of this month.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and then the 23rd is scheduled to be demo day, which is taking out Phase 2, which is everything from, so you have the main building with the bricks and everything, and then you have all the bays, our sally ports, that's all coming down. So there's going to be a missing piece in the middle. So they're working on that
The
right now.
white section.
Yeah, so that's on the 23rd. That's demo day, taking everything down. So we have a lot of work going in there because Phase 2 has our evidence. So we have to remove all that stuff, get it to a different location, get that all ready. We have that scheduled, probably take about 2 days before demo day. So that's where we are. And then I don't think they're going to be fully done in Phase 1 so they can actually use it yet. But they don't really have any rooms in the nature of sleeping quarters in Phase 1. That's really Phase 2. So the fire department and ourselves are really in the main building. So once they finish phase 2, the fire department is really almost done, and then it really starts hitting us.
What's the projected date for Phase 2 completion?
Phase 2, so the total completion is August 25. So we're looking at 3 months for phase 3, they're saying. So you're probably thinking, what, March in that ballpark?
Yeah.
Is to finish that.
That's fair.
Thank you.
So, so we'll see how that goes. The interesting part is, with phase 1, it was a lot of the fire department, so I'm in all these meetings, and a lot of the things that do happen really are concerns for the fire department, not as much as us, except for mechanicals, rooms, and wires and all that good stuff. But now once you get to phase 2, it's really starting our operation, and especially when they started with the asphalt in the front. We had to make some alternate entrances for the public for a little while. So we've done that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, just to add to that, I guess, you may have noticed the ongoing construction, obviously, and site work. And what we've been experiencing recently has been less and less accessibility to the building. And this is kind of on a daily basis where we're like, okay, what do we have today? And how do we get the public into the building safely? Well, certainly the ADA issues are of great concern to us as well. So we're trying to make the best of a tough situation. We are becoming the poster children of why you should probably move out and let somebody else just build what they need to build and then move us back in. And trying to work around us, I think, is probably making the program a little bit longer than it might have been otherwise. I have to say, I appreciate CCI and their patience with us as we try to get our jobs done as well. But it's constantly moving apparatus and cruisers around and not be in the way of the bigger trucks. And putting appropriate signage up so that folks know where they're supposed to go, because the driveway into the public safety building yesterday may not be there tomorrow. It's somewhere else. So they're all kind of getting used to it, as are we. I know that when I come in the morning, I have to check and make sure which way I can come in. So if that's hitting me, then it's certainly, folks in town are struggling with that as well. So hopefully we can get that squared away pretty soon. As the captain said, they've taken out the rest of that asphalt into that driveway, which would have typically, you would know that as the library side entrance. That's gone. But there's a newer library side entrance that's going to be the permanent one. Connected to that conversation is the ongoing cleaning of what's in the building, what has accumulated over so many years, and the different personnel are given different jobs in order to get that stuff out of there. When that middle section gets raised, there can't be anything left in there, obviously. So we're looking for homes for that, and we're using office space that we do have in the building to store stuff. And the movement of all the officers upstairs into the grand room up there has certainly facilitated some space downstairs in order to store things. So it's a temporary situation, and we'll get there. But in preparation for phase 2, as the captain said, we just have to get stuff out of the way and be ready for that.
I mean, the big factor is that you're seeing, we have our weekly meetings that we do every week. We're actually bringing that to 2 a week.
Another meeting.
Which is exciting, but it helps out because communication needs to be there, especially on the start of the week, especially with this phase 2, because it's complicated on the project.
Yeah, we try to limit, obviously there's the fire department's in the building, the police department's in the building. We have communications that serves both entities, and there just seems to be a whole lot of people who are having conversations, but not necessarily communicating as clearly as perhaps we should. So it was determined that Monday morning at 7:30 there would be a weekly meeting, just a gathering of just a few of the stakeholders to go over what the week will bring and just break it down to what are we doing this week. just so that we can all kind of get on the same page and figure out where cars are, how people are moving, and how not to get in each other's way. So I think that'll probably work out pretty smooth by the time we get going. Are there any other questions about the construction we can think of? I will bring you up to date on a few other things. Last meeting, I mentioned a modification petition that I filed. I have since withdrawn that motion, and here's why. If you remember, I said that I had filed a modification petition with PLRB to try to move the communications supervisor out of the union. And after conversation with several of the folks involved, including the union, it was determined that they would be, they filed an objection, which would mean hearing. By the time that hearing is done, we'll be well into negotiations. I found that it was probably fiscally more responsible to withdraw the motion, include that into our negotiation conversation, and save us a whole lot of money from not having to go back and forth to PLRB and argue this with our council. Hopefully that's the wiser of the choices. But it seems to be a conversation that is open with the local union here. They're pretty much in agreement with the concept behind what I'm trying to accomplish. So I see a positive outcome to this during that conversation. I think in fall we get really into the negotiations. Next thing is the selectmen, Paul's here, he could speak on it if he wishes, have given us permission to use a parking spot exclusively for use of the police cruiser to facilitate the parking of a marked cruiser and the subsequent visibility and foot patrol that I've ordered the officers to do downtown. That'll be next to Black's, closest to Main Street. So Steve from Highway has signed on to get us squared away with cross-hatching the spot and putting up an appropriate sign so that people are aware of what that is. We're just hoping we get that thing done soon rather than once the traffic starts, because I don't want to change people's behavior if I don't have to right in the middle of something and
So this would
get it
be
ahead of
pulling
time.
down like Railroad Avenue?
We're pulling in
Yep.
from the main street,
Okay.
and then the officers will be getting out and
I remember
using.
years back, you went around, it was right beside the real estate office, right there by the post office. That was the,
And we had that conversation about which would be best, whether to face out or head in. And the captain and I had a long conversation about it. If you face out towards Main Street, that will promote the officer sitting in the cruiser. I don't want the officer sitting in the cruiser. I want them out. So if they're faced away from Main Street, they're still there, they're still very visible. That spot actually is seen a lot better all the way around, and the officer will have to depart the car and get on their feet and walk around, and it forces them to get out on the street. In a case of a call where they have to leave in a hurry, they'll put on their lights and they'll back slowly into the main street and then head out. It's getting to the spot that might be a little bit more difficult because there's not an emergency. Just pulling into that spot's a whole lot easier than negotiating all the way around and then getting into the position. Anything else on that?
No, I think you're good.
Paul, did you have anything you wanted to know on that? Okay. Sherry, the captain, and I attended management rights training at Portsmouth PD. Was that yesterday? Time flies so fast. And that was hosted by Portsmouth PD. I found it to be a good use of our time. We did acquire some information with regard to management rights during collective bargaining and these types of things, and we can give you further information, or I can even share you with some of the materials if the commission wants to review those later. The final thing I want to share is the traffic at the school. I I do tend to, when time permits in the evenings, review social media, what's going on in and around Wolfeboro. Typically, I know where to go for great prime rib. I know where to go for good fish, but I also kind of keep my eye on comments from folks about policing in the town, safety issues, any kind of concerns that folks may not give us a call about, but they'll perhaps put a post up or complain to a friend of theirs on social media. And oftentimes we get a lot of good information or intel from that. The one that I've noticed that's been pretty repetitious lately, especially since the rear end collision at the school, was the lack of police officers doing traffic. I've studied the road. I've sat in traffic like we all have. I've watched it. I've watched the design of the road and the amount of cars that go on this road. I've said to him several times, they couldn't have imagined this many cars would be on this road for the amount of, stop and go. And I viewed the videos from the school, and I watched the crash actually occur with the school's closed circuit television. Here's what I know. You could add 4 officers in that intersection, that crash was going to happen. That's what happens when you aren't paying attention. That's how police officers get hit doing traffic. But that doesn't belay the fact that there's still a concern about new kids driving, inexperienced drivers, and a whole lot of traffic. As you know, we have 2 SROs at the school. Wasn't too long ago, the captain tasked one of them to do afternoon traffic control, because they all come out at the same time. They don't necessarily all go in at the same time, but they do come out pretty much at the same time. So one of the 2 officers, and they can determine on their own which one's turn it is to go out and assist the traffic from the campus. We have since, or we are now in the process of doing the same thing for morning. If nothing else, get the officer out there, reflective gear, people see them, and maybe they're a little bit more aware of what they're coming up onto, and hopefully that will resolve some of our concerns. And it's kind of in a testing phase right now. We certainly want at least 1 officer in the school, in the lobby, and having some sort of eyes on the kids as they come into the school building itself. But we're gonna test it out. We have a little bit of time in the school year left to see how it works, and we will report back, let you know what we find. Other than that, it was a full month. We are still attempting to fill our positions. We have hired 2 people who conditional hire, and they will be attending the academy in the summer, provided they continue on in their background process and everything goes according to plan. We have a couple others that we're looking at as a possibility for hopefully good news next month as well. Do you have anything else that you think we should be
For the hiring, no.
stating on anything?
Nope, you got it.
That's what you got.
Good. I'd like to use one thing you were talking, one subject matter to a segue. So in reference to the upcoming negotiations you spoke of, we do have to choose some representatives that we're negotiating on the behalf of the agency, or the town, I should say. So with that, do we have any volunteers? Chief, I think you're going to be part of that now, correct?
Certainly.
And any of you, either you gentlemen interested in that?
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay.
What's that?
Having one of us represent the agency and the contract.
Yeah, I don't think we need all 3 of us. In the past, it had always just been 1, but I think
One's quite fine.
one and, yeah.
Kevin, you good with that?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Chief, good?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So it'll be Kevin and the chief. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
I have one. Of
course.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I know.
I have one thing for the commission items.
Oh, yeah, good.
Okay. So 11 a.m. on Monday morning at the First Congregational Church of Ossipee is going to be the celebration of life for former Police Commissioner Bob O'Brien. So that's Monday morning at 11 at the First Congregational Church of Ossipee. That'll be followed by a reception after in the hall of the church, I guess. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anything else from commissioners' notes or items?
For the next meeting.
The next meeting will be Thursday, June 13th, 2024, 6 p.m., here in the same facility, the Great Hall. And with that being said, Board of Selectmen's rep, Mr. Bryan.
2 minutes, Paul.
Okay.
Good evening. Good evening, Sherry and gentlemen. Thanks for having me here. Paul O'Brien, Board of Selectmen's rep. I did try to find my way into the new public safety building the other day. It was a challenge. I had Captain Levy out there directing me, and it was a bit of a challenge, so I appreciate what y'all are going through. It's going to get worse. Just enjoy it. And we did grant the request for the police department to park their car. Question that was unanswered at the selectmen's meeting is which one of us gets to go out and ticket it if it's there for more than 2 hours in the summertime. So we'll work on that. A lot of things going on. A lot of special event permits taking place. It's summertime. People want to take advantage of Cape Park and all that. So you see a lot of that going through the select board. If you hadn't noticed, we're digging up the streets. And, so we're digging a nice trench out in front of the building. That'll finish somewhere around Memorial Day, and we promise, at least somebody promises, that we won't be messing around in the streets till after the summer season. But we got to get a temporary water line in there. You're going to see more work by the state taking place over on 109A. That paving of 109A has been in the 10-year plan for the past 20 years, so they're probably going to put a pave coat on 109A, Pine Hill
They're
Road.
paving 109A now?
Yeah, it's going to take place sometime this summer.
25 years I commuted to Plymouth on that road, and they
Yeah.
did it till I got done.
As I said, it's been on the 10-year plan for the last 20 years, so they're working on it. June 5, you're all invited to this. There's going to be a public meeting with the state of New Hampshire in this room to take a hard look at what's going to happen between here, Pickering Corner, and the high school. That whole corridor is up for some conversation. I asked, do we have an actual plan, that's on the table? And the answer is not really, but we're close. So this is going to be an opportunity for the people of the town one more time to get in and speak their minds about what's going on. So words like roundabout, beacons, intersections, all that stuff is going to get talked about. And I want to use this as an opportunity to tell people that you might want to show up and pay attention to what's going on there, because it's going to be a big project. And our municipal electric company is going to have to move poles. We're going to be cutting down trees. All of the things you don't want to see happen is probably going to happen. So, stay tuned to that channel. And thank you for letting me know who's going to be involved in the upcoming conversations with the union. I'm the select person's representative as well, so I'll key in with you folks. I shot it over to Sherry just a minute ago, saying I'd really like to get just an update on what you see as things we got to get prepared for. Aside from that, last thing is we are looking at every function inside Jim's organization. It's a good thing to do. It's healthy. What are your tasks? What are you responsible for? How do you get the work done? Do you have enough resources? Do you have too many resources? That kind of conversation is going on, and it's meant to drive clarity. It's all it's meant to do. It's not meant to do anything else. It's just meant to drive clarity, because I think, as we come out of COVID and all those other crazy things that we had to experience, people were doing each other's work because they wanted to and they had to during the COVID world. And now we just got to get back to playing position. So that's kind of what's going on. It's a healthy exercise, and I've got Public Works, Water and Sewer, Pop Whalen, Parks and Rec, and a couple of others. and no time off. But it's fun. I mean, it's a good thing to do. And it's good for me because it gets me back online with what I missed over the past couple of years. So that's all we have. Looking forward to continuing to do what we're doing with each other. It's great. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul. Budget Committee, John?
Thank you, Sean. And Tom Bell, the liaison between Budget Committee and the PD. We have our first meeting on the 20th this month. Probably I don't have the agenda yet, but probably looking at committee assignments and where the default budget is falling within the various departments. But it was good to see that the PD is well within the budget itself, and I asked whether there were any pinch points. It doesn't seem to be right now, but as they develop, if they develop, please let us know so that we can work with you in any way that we can to ameliorate any of that. So, but thanks again.
Great. Thanks, John.
And we'll keep you informed as the meeting goes on as to what transpires.
Great, thank you. Any other public input, Bernie? Nothing, I guess. Anyone make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Celtics at 7.